And hello YouTube, this is Dragonclaw here, the water type gym leader over at our Pokemon League DS at Reddit. And this is my third challenger, username Hadn. And I'm just checking out his team and let's just go for it. I decided to lead with Cloyster this time, seeing as how I have pretty good moves against most of his team. I was a little worried about starting off with my Shell Smash like I usually do, because I'm worried that he has extreme speed on his Togekiss, which would be able to bust through my Focus Sash if the time came for it. So I just went straight for the Icicle Spear. Luckily it was enough to kill him. I did get a crit on one of those. Not sure if it would have been enough to kill him otherwise. So he goes for his Sarcophagus, or however the hell you pronounce that name. Never was quite sure on that one. I just go for my Mana War, considering he's especially defensive. Not really expecting what to happen, and he goes for his Trick Room, which I was definitely not expecting, but I go ahead and decide to start setting up Toxic Spikes right here, which turns out to be pretty helpful for the rest of the game. Not necessarily game-changing, but it makes a decent difference. He goes for his Dynamic Punch, which I always hate Machamps, because the Dynamic Punch with no guard, and it automatically confuses you. It's a big mess. Especially with his Trick Room up, now he's going first. But I go ahead and go for the Scald. Luckily I don't get confused. And I do get the burn, so now this Machamp is basically crippled. And seeing as how it's like, I'll give it a shot. See if I can set up another layer of Toxic Spikes. He goes for another Dynamic Punch. Not enough to kill me. I break out of my confusion, and I set up another layer of Toxic Spikes. So as far as I'm concerned, this Tentacruel's job is done. He has set up his Toxic Spikes, he's crippled one of his main attackers, and he's just also wearing down this Trick Room. So he goes for another Dynamic Punch. This one kills me off. He gets another burn and just rub some salt in it, and now the Trick Room is over. I decided to use this opportunity to set up and go for a Rain Dance. Yeah, he goes for another Dynamic Punch, and this actually does do a pretty decent amount of damage, especially considering that he was burned. But like I said before, my Lantern here is more specially defensive oriented and doesn't take physical attacks very well. I do break through my confusion again and go ahead and go for a Surf, and it's enough to just pick him off. He goes for his Breloom, and I'm sitting here, my first thought was, crap, I already poisoned him. I faced a Breloom so far. Every team that has faced me has had a Breloom. And it turns out that he goes for the Swords Dance. And my thought process here, you guys are probably wondering, what the hell did you send out a Quagsire for? My thought process was, oh, he's physically defensive, he'll be able to take those hits very well, and I completely forget that he has Grass-type moves. And it turns out that this one is a Technician Breloom. So he's got Bullet Seed and Mach Punch along with Swords Dance. And even with my unaware, doesn't take into account the Swords Dance, he just does not take Grass-type moves well. So down he goes, and I see these Life Orb as well, and now the Toxic is actually doing damage, as opposed to healing him like every other Breloom I've faced. So I go into my Spike. I know he's got a Focus Sash, so whatever he does is not going to be able to kill me. So I just go straight for the Icicle Spear. And like my good old Spike here has done with every other Breloom so far, he just murders it. if you guys are needing a good Breloom counter, I'd highly recommend Cloyster. He is the man, especially my spike here. So now he goes into his Politoed. I was actually talking with him while this match was going on, and I was telling him, it's like, you know, you're really going to regret sending in a Drizzle Politoed against a water-type team. And I just decided to go for a standard Icicle Spear. Wasn't quite sure how much it was going to do, but I was expecting it to do at least a little damage, and my Cloyster is pretty much done anyway, so I was just hoping for the best at this point. He goes for a Scald. It's enough to kill me, obviously. Cloyster's job is done. And that Toxic is actually coming in pretty good handy during this match. I go back into my Riptide. I go for the Protect just to kind of scout to see what he's going to do. Not to mention, it'll also Toxic Stall him, which I've never expected to use Riptide for, but it helps. Protect is just a generally good move to have, especially with Speed Boost. You know, scout, figure out what's going on. And even though this isn't very effective, in the rain it'll do a significant amount of damage. And so, I just went for the Waterfall, and it kills him. Now I got 2 layers of Speed Boost up. And he goes for his Dragonite. I can just go straight for my Ice Fang, knowing it's going to do a significant amount of damage. If he doesn't have multi-scale, it'll probably kill him, but looks like he does. He goes for his Thunder. It turns out this is actually the same kind of Dragonite I have, where he's meant for the rain. He's got Thunder and Hurricane. Generally a really awesome Dragonite to have. Everyone always kind of rags on the, oh, you got a special Dragonite, he's losing so much potential. But I tell you what, special Dragonites are freaking awesome. So I go into my Karis, knowing that it can take pretty much any special hit, plus not to mention the Volt Absorb is awesome in case he decides to use another Thunder. I just go for my Ice Beam. And kills him. So now back into his Cofragus. I go for my Surf, which is more powerful under the rain. It's my main stab attack. It turns out he has a red card. This really threw me off. I asked him about it and it was kind of funny. He said, yeah, usually it happens much earlier in the game. It was messing with the sweepers that come in. Like my Shell Smash Cloyster would have been really thrown off by that. But he's taking toxic damage. I go ahead and go for the Hurricane. Of course, I get another crit right when it's not needed. But it was awesome. This was a good match. It was starting to get on a bit of a roll. I was a little disappointed when I lost my very first one, and I was like, ah, geez, now I'm not going to make a very good gym leader at all. But so far, I'm holding my own pretty good. My record is 2-1 right now, 2 wins, 1 loss. And I'm hoping to stick it out as a gym leader. If you guys want to challenge either me or any other gym leaders over at our Pokemon League DS, go ahead and hop over to Reddit. You know, I'm usually in the chat section if you guys ever want to find me. Or any of the other gym leaders, I'm sure will love to take your challenges. Well, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.